Hey guys, you see here from my trade price. So this week's video, okay. I think as I go through some of these names that we actively follow and trade, it would be nice to actually review some of the morning notes and just kind of see how you guys could have played it out and all that, right? So let's go and review this Friday. Yesterday's everybody is it's fresh in everyone's mind. So let's take a look at QQQ, right? This is a 30-minute chart shared in the morning, and I think it will help with execution as well because a lot of you keep asking, how do we execute? Where do we enter? And all that stuff. So maybe if you kind of go through this exercise where we review the morning notes, compare with how the chart played out that day, and then what you could have done, right? What the morning notes said, and uh, how do you read those notes and then plan your day? Okay, so for example, QQQ, right? This was the morning chart, 30-minute chart, rejection from yesterday, it says right over here. And then the main trend line, sort of a mini uptrend one, right, was this right here. So level to consider today for any further bearish continuation, right? So further was the key word, which meant that yes, we're already bearish, right? But for the continuation, for a breakout of this on further on the downside, keep an eye on this one. If it breaks down, something like around 355 or something, wherever it was, but if you would have drawn this on your chart, you would have kind of noticed it nicely. Intraday, if it gets somewhat neutral to, if it gets above 361.7, right? That was the level to get somewhat neutral to, slightly bullish over. Okay, now let's go see what actually happened in the QQQ. I'll pull the 30-minute chart. Okay, this is how zoom in, right? So we opened up right here, 358, 359, whatever, and 361 was somewhere around here, right? 361.7. So that's the only level we would have considered to get neutral to somewhat bullish for for intraday move. It never got there, right? So that meant Friday first 30-minute bar bearish, and it kept on going down. So the sentiment is weak, right? The better plays are to look to short, right? On strength, that's the play. Or if you want to play a breakout short trade, you can do that as well. But entry at the key level definitely helps. Okay, so let's say, let me drill down to a 5-minute time frame, right? And here is exactly where we broke down, or we kind of bounced a little bit, just not a whole lot of bounce, but maybe a point or two, and then we just kind of cracked through it towards the end after like 12 afternoon. So yeah, we kept on falling down after that level broke down that trend line. So the better plays are on the short side all day, right? So I don't know how you can play calls or long trades on that day, especially on the tickers that we actively follow and trade, right? So few of you messaged that we got into Nvidia calls, and somebody said we got into something else on the long side. I don't know. There is no market on the long side until or unless we were above this level. Still, right now, right? Uh, it's weak, and we closed the Friday on a big bearish trend bar, right? So now that, just like we had this level right here, right? We have a similar trend line in play right over here. So if we break down through this below, definitely the next major support level is somewhere around here in this area. Okay, or if we get a look, kind of just break down a little bit in this area, and then it gets back above with some hammer looking bar or something, sure, we'll consider something else. But for right now, trend is your friend, trend is down. You have more bearish bars on a daily time frame, right? Starting from all the way here. And any bullish bars you see, it just does it fails to get above its previous swing high in that particular time frame, right? So if you're looking at this daily chart, right, this was sort of the uh, area where it broke down from. It tried to get back above that, couldn't do it, and then it fell back down, tried again, made a sort of a lower high, right? This is a lower high. This is a lower high from compared to this, and now it broke down below this swing support as well, right? This is a swing support. How do you do a swing support? Okay, the move up, down, and now it broke down. So this is becomes your swing low, right? This is swing high. So we broke down below that on Friday, and the way I was trying to get to feel it was, hey, this is a trend line. If it breaks down below, it's a bearish continuation. So that's how you read the price action. Okay, let's take a look at Amazon. But before that, let's look at what the notes said. Amazon structure for today is weak as long as below 32.15 with bearish breakout attempt below 31.50, right? So this was a 31.50 level right here because we have a few touch points here. That's why I had mentioned it. This is sort of a good level to look for to play a bearish trade. Okay, and as long as it's below 32.10, 15, the chart remains bearish, right? Because it tried to get above that level, couldn't do it in the past date on Thursday. So that means bulls wanted to get above that level. Now let's go see how it played out. Okay, Amazon, let's go 5-minute chart, or let's do it. Yeah, 5-minute chart is okay. So 32.15 was the level on the upside that we would want to be slightly bullish or neutral for the intraday, right? It never got there. The stock opened somewhere around 31.80. 32.15 was right here. So there was no reason to be bullish. Okay, that's number one. So that means you're looking to short on strength, stuff, so on and so forth, right? And if you couldn't even catch that, 31.50 was the level to be totally bearish under, right? So 31.50 is somewhere right here, right? So if I can zoom in a little bit more right here, okay, this is a 5-minute view. 31.50 is right somewhere. Let me draw a line just so it becomes visually easy to follow what I'm saying. 31.50 right here, right? So it fell below that, and you can see from price action perspective as well, there was nothing, no bullish bars were seeing any upside follow through, and any bullish bars that would come up, they would not be successful to get above its previous swing high, right? All these little bullish bars were just not able to get above their previous swing highs. This one couldn't get above this. These ones couldn't get above this, right? You see the intensity of the bars on the bearish side is more, right? You just have more bearish bars. Okay, so let me show you what the bearish patterns, right? Intraday bearish flags, things of that nature. You need to identify those things, right? Here was the okay, let me pick my tool here. There you go. Okay, so this is a bear flag, right? This one right here. This is a mini one right here, something like that, So these are bearish continuation patterns intraday, right? So if you want to take an entry intraday, look for strength within these bearish patterns, right? So you got this big sort of a 5-minute bullish bar. There is no upside follow through it. And if you don't want to wait for it, that hey, I don't want to wait for it to go down and then it will be a breakout time for an entry, take an entry here on this strength bar, right? On the strength bar, take an entry here. It went, and then if it tries to break above its previous swing high, sure, you can keep a tight stop loss on that. But the market trend is down, so short on strength. Enter, let's say 3150 or sorry 3100 P or something like that, right? So that's how you need to enter. And a lot of times you keep asking, what is it that you're entering? What is your, that's not the right way to trade, okay? I'm an active trader, so is Henny. So there is no way you can keep up with how much trading we are doing, what we are entering, where we are entering. We are like intraday, we're entering at many of these places. We are closing our positions, we're opening it back again, we're averaging it down, we are, stuff like that. So you cannot just alert those things, Unfortunately, you keep asking, what is your entry? What is all that stuff? That does not matter. What we give you in the morning is gold. So learn to take advantage of those things. Otherwise, you'll keep focusing on the wrong thing and it will not work out for you. Okay, seriously. let's take a look at another one. Nvidia got some rejection from the downtrend line, breaking down from 253 adds downside pressure, right? Bullish if it was only above 263.6, right? This was the level we were trying to see if it breaks down below 253.4 for a bearish move. Only strength above 263.6. Okay, now let's see what happened in Nvidia. Okay, and there you go. Nvidia 263.6, right? That was the level to get above for it to be intraday strong. It never got above 263.7. So no calls, not even an attempt to play a call. So if you're getting in calls over there before it breaks 263.7, you're totally off. You're not paying attention to what we are preaching to you on this platform. And then 253 was the level for it to break down below which we were bearish, and that's exactly what it did. Same thing. Intraday bearish patterns. It broke 253 and it kept on going down. Made a lot of money on this thing, so it gave a lot of good range for the day. So I have no idea why anybody would do calls. Here's the details with some intraday key levels, right, for next week as well, for Monday as well right now. So that's how it's playing out. Now if I were to look at this chart and let me take out these levels, it got rejected from this downtrend line pretty hard, and now decent support comes into play around 230 to 228. We'll see what happens, but it can definitely keep moving down before it kind of tries to give you a bounce, right? So we'll kind of keep an eye on that from that perspective. Let's go see Shop. Oh my God, I was so bearish on this thing. The chart had written bearish all over it, right? Bearish structure as long as below 970. Number one, fell below mini up channel and bounced a bit, blah blah blah. So 884 is the support right there. You can see on the chart. Here's a green shaded area, so that means below that it's breaking down, and I think I kept on saying that in the commentary as well. Now let's go see what happened in Shop. Right, daily view. Again, in the daily view, this is a bearish flag pattern because you can see the bullish bars again not seeing any follow through, and even with follow through they couldn't really get above the structure here, right? The range between 780 and 1013 level. And in the recent days, right, if I zoom in the recent days, with all these little cute little bullish bars, it couldn't even get above 50% mark of this big bearish bar, right? And these are not really big bullish bars, so just no strength. I'm still bearish on this name. Let's see how the earnings will play this name out, but let's drill down to a 5-minute view below 884, right? 884 is somewhere right here, 884, yeah. So bearish below that. It actually broke down just in the morning, right? 5-minute chart is right here. And again, lower highs, bearishness, bearish sentiment. Overall chart is bearish. It couldn't get above 917, so that's the first tell that the mojo, the sentiment is on the bearish side. I'm not going to play any bounces on this name. I'm going to just sell on strength. Okay, so if you have not been shorting this name and not playing it, and now when it comes to 880 right here somewhere, and somebody asked me, am I okay to play puts? Sure, but figure out your entry. Okay, what you are playing here is a breakout entry. So what that means is the chart can retrace back $20 up and still remain bearish. But your puts will lose value because number one, they're the same day expiration, and then a lot of times people have small accounts and they just buy one put or one call, and then if it doesn't move or goes against them, they don't want to average down and they start getting jitters, and even like, okay, I'm going to get out. So timing is everything for small accounts, especially. Don't play breakout trades. Look for rejections. Okay, and then another question comes up: how do you look for rejections? You just read the price, right? You just look at these bars, you look at different multi time frames, you see the bullish bars that go up, where can I time my entry so that my risk is minimal, right? So for example, if you were trying to trade sharp yesterday, right? So this was the breakdown, initial morning breakdown, right? I don't have the levels. Let's see the levels from yesterday. Where are they? It's in the, so right. Okay, so 884, 897. Okay, so now let's go to 897. So these are not for next week, let's say. So this is good for Monday, but let's say if you were doing that, you could see we have resistance right here intraday around 889 and 890. So if the stock retraces back after bouncing from 870 towards that area, go and short it right there, or just get in puts right here and define your stop loss to be one or at least two levels above this, right? Because the stock can still go against you a little bit before it falls down, right? It's market. Nobody knows the exact price, but you just try to time it in the area where it makes the most sense by limiting your risk. Because if you are shorting right here, your stop loss should have been something like around 897 because that was a recent swing high in a 5-minute time frame, right? So that becomes your risk, but you try to target at least 1.5 to 2 times of that risk so that it makes sense to hold all that, right? When it broke 869, uh, it just kind of fell through right there. So let's look at Tesla. What did we say on Tesla was, let's see. Tesla overall range bound, we have been trading towards the short side, right? So the sentiment all week was on the short side with 940 to 950, 944, all that general area as being the resistance, right? And giving up 894 can target lower support level. To get into bullish, it needs to cross above 923 or 25. It never got above 923, 925. The highest it got was 915. So that is the first thing it tells you that the chart is weak and I should look for bearish plays, right? So again, learn the intraday patterns here, bearish patterns, right? These kind of look like that, sideways to slightly up channels within the larger bearish trend like this, right? So that you need to kind of know these things to try to time your intraday entries. Okay, so what was the level to break down? 940, 894. Okay, so 894 was somewhere over here, right there. Okay, it tried to attempt the move back above in the 5-minute time frame above 894, couldn't do it, right? There was no follow through to the upside, and all these bars before this bullish bar had top wicks, so that meant there is constant selling pressure. Okay, so look for those kind of clues for the mark from the price action to see what's happening around that key level. Okay, and short on strength was the way to go for that day yesterday, and it paid really nice big time, especially on Tesla as it broke down and we were bearish. So now let's take a look at a little bit larger time frame, right? Why 940 was such, or 944, whatever that was, because we would not get any upside follow through once the price reached there. We had all these top wicks, lack of bullish follow through whenever the price would reach 935, 936, and there was no strength. And then sort of this was the trend line, right? This was sort of the trend line which people were referring to as ascending triangle, which it was. But then when it's an ascending triangle, you should be seeing more closings towards the top end of that triangle. You were not getting that. You had all these top wicks. So as soon as it fell through this, I think people just, throw in the towel and they're like, all right, screw it. We're just going to short this thing, or just, I'm not going to hold any long, and added further pressure to the downside. And that's exactly what it did. Now, if I zoom out a little bit, and actually let's go to a weekly time frame, right? So here's the weekly uptrend line, right? It is still holding this uptrend line, but now we have this bearish bar which actually just kind of overshadows this previous week, right? So the trend remains down with the bearish side. That's not how the bullish chart looks like, okay, if you ask me. So still bearish. We'll look for entries with until or unless we get about 947, 950, I would say, just round it off. The chart remains bearish. The chart remains weak. Okay, so we'll see how it handles this uptrend line again, right? It bounced from it last time, made a little sideways move, and now just fell back down, right? The earnings are past, so there's no news coming for this name, at least from earnings perspective, for a couple of months. So I think technicals and stuff like that will take over. Okay, so that was sort of the charts from yesterday, right? That we played out. I don't like giving out a lot of chart and names these days because that can somewhat, cause FOMO or stuff like that. But you know, what I don't understand is that we are not, again, I'm going to just go over this thing again. We are not a typical alert service. Okay, I'm not going to give you, or any's not going to give you alerts, right? Yes, we do share some of our entries sometimes, but that's not the platform. If that is what your expectation is, I am sorry to tell you that you will not get anywhere with that thing, right? The idea of this platform is to learn, uh, make your own thought process, learn price action, and then just make your own decisions. But yes, our morning charts, and nobody does that. I've joined a couple of other services just to see how they do it. Nobody does that, right? And I'm not saying we are the best out there or anything like that, but we do take a lot of time out of our schedule to do these things. And I saw a comment actually from one of the members about saying something like, hey, you guys make income from this platform and something like that. uh, so that was, number one, really not a professional thing to say. And number two, uh, if you are paying towards, having towards this platform, it is, number one, not for, I'd say, my income purposes. The sort of profits we make in a day and stuff like that, I don't really need the income from this platform to live my life, right? It is more because I respect my time, and I want anybody who's here on this platform to respect that as well. We give out our time and resources towards this platform, and and also it is for your own benefit as well. Okay, if you were in some free platform, you would just not focus that much on that platform because you would not have any vested interest, right? With some small amount towards the platform that you're paying, right? It makes you feel connected, right? You are, hey, I've put some money towards it. This is sort of my investment. I better try to learn and put some time into it to see what I can learn and better myself in my trading, right? And if you still disagree to that thing, uh, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately, and I would respect your decision should you decide to leave or anything like that. Okay, but this platform, unfortunately, I try to do as much as I can. Annie tries to do as much as she can to help, to answer, to respond, to give you plays, to give you a framework through which you can trade actively, right? For example, Nvidia, these other levels, like for example, let's just take a look at, I don't know, Square. I know we kept on telling you to short towards 120, right? That's the level until or unless it gets there, short it, right? Because that's the downtrend line right there, right? That's where the stock meets the downtrend line. So we don't have to trade with you. You have these levels. You can definitely use these levels to trade something else that we are not trading. But we give every chart our due attention to make sure that the levels that we come up with are exactly following the same methodology that on the ones that we are trading for that day personally, right? So think about that. Really, those some comments were really kind of not something that I had expected. And but anyways, and then another somebody said something about posting on Facebook, and again, it is nobody's concern what we do on the social media or what we post or anything like that. If you find that we are spending more time on social media or anything like that, posting things there versus responding to you, that's not true at all. Okay. I just want all of you to be successful from this platform. Learn and become more confident traders, but I cannot come and execute for you. Okay. So nobody is to blame. So there's only one person you can blame, and that is the one that you see in the mirror. Okay. That's the person to blame for anything like that. If you want to trade, become more successful and confident, you have to let the fear go. Okay. You have to make some sort of trading methodology, and whether it's based on price action or some indicators you like to add on top of that or whatever. But think about it. What is that, right? What is it that you are doing wrong, or if you have not been successful? I'll take an example of one of the members, or a few of our members, right? This guy, Sean, Siva, Rob. Those are, I mean, we never tell them, hey, go do 700p or 800p. That is for you to decide based on your risk, right? Based on your account size. I can do Amazon 3100p, which is a $34 contract, and I can buy four of those, and as soon as it goes to 36, I can be out, right? Figure out what is that risk level for you, for your account size, and then before you enter a trade for that particular day, have a plan that will help you. Otherwise, you will in the moment when the market is open and the candles are forming, they're moving fast, you will not realize what to do, and then you will just kind of do something, an emotional trade or something, and then you're like, oops, why did I do that? And then next thing you know, you will be averaging it down, trying to manage it, or trying to make it into a hope trade to figure out what to do with that, and it becomes a bigger loss at that particular point in time. So focus on learning price action, morning notes, combine that with your understanding of the chart and see what the price is doing compared to those levels that we gave out, the morning notes we gave out, and then get into a trade. Nobody can execute it for you. I cannot come and execute and press the button for you. You will have to do it yourself. Okay. You will have to take that action. You'll have to take the fear out of your mind, that and stop chasing, right? So for example, Tesla, instead of shorting here at 9:45, right, 9:30, where your chart based risk would have only been 948, because once it goes above 948, hey, it's going to try to break out, and that is my risk. I'm going to keep short here at 930 or even 925 or even 910, right? Because it's breaking down, that's my short, and I'm going to try to target the lower level. So think from risk perspective. I keep telling everybody. Otherwise, you will keep chasing. You will see the price falling down right around 875, and be like, okay, let me try to short it now. And then the next thing you know, it bounces, and you're just holding the bag full of puts, and you're like, what do I do now? So focus on those things. Okay. Now let's take a look at few names. Let's start Google. Okay. So here is Google. Again, weekly level, pretty weak in a sense that it got rejected really badly, after the earnings, made a nice bounce, but no follow through, and now we're back towards this 2667 level where it kind of broke out from at the time of earnings. Now, if I look at a daily view, yeah, big bearish bars, no upside follow through. I think the most it can bounce and we can become neutral is once it gets above 2800, but till then, chart is weak. We'll see if it tries to test some of these lower, back test some of this downtrend line it broke above from, right? Let's look at shop. Okay, let me go flip the view. Still bearish, flaggish. Earnings coming up next week, middle of next week. That can definitely change things. Options will be pricey, so maybe not a good week to trade the options on this one. Maybe short the stock if you can. If the price warrants that, once we get into the daily moves, we'll see what happens. But that's the sort of the action that we can look for. Okay, let's look at Square. Still weak. No love in this name. Yes, it's holding 999 level, right? Again, still got rejected from the downtrend line top wicks. So unless it can get above 120.5, it remains under pressure. Getting above 120.5 can push it towards 131. But the breakdown happens again below 99, and 83 is the level to target if it does break down below 99, 98 level. Okay, Nvidia. Uh, Nice rejection from the downtrend line, right? And a good follow through to the downside that even broke down this mini uptrend line that we had from the earlier month or so. So weak chart, daily chart is weak, and now again, you want to trade this name. Let's look at the daily chart. The daily chart, bullish bar, no follow through to the upside, got rejected, and we have a top wick. And somebody asked as well, do you take entries in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? There is no rule. Seriously. You can do a first touch rejection, a 5-minute confirmation, whatever. And what confirmation? There is no confirmation, right? If it's showing you a confirmation in 5 minutes, what if it in 10 minutes it totally reverses and you're like, what the hell happened to my confirmation? So that's a wrong concept to look for confirmation. There is no confirmation. So personally speaking, I just try to analyze the structure of the candles on around the key level in 2 minute, 5 minute time frame, and just kind of take the trade, give myself a defined risk, and that's how I trade. And most of my trades are first touch rejections or bounces. Okay, I personally don't wait for any time frame type confirmations, but people who do, that's fine, that's up to you. I just don't think there is any such concept in the as confirmation. It just depends on what time frame you're looking. There's always a higher time frame that will differ from whatever time period is giving you a confirmation, right? There's always that level of higher time frame that will exist no matter what time frame you pick, right? If it's a 2 minute, there's always a 5 minute. Pick 5 minutes, there's always a 10 minute. You pick a day, there's a week. There's a week, there's a month. There's a month, there's a quarter. So it's all relative. Okay, so that's how you can. I mean, again, that's my way of thinking. You don't have to agree with it, but if you do, think about this thing. That's all I can say. Okay. Roku, haven't been trading this name. It's just stuck, right? So yeah, still bear flag-ish kind of a pattern here, right? But this again, I don't like to play breakout on this name. Maybe only a rejection of the trend line or something like that. But once if it breaks down below 150 this time, I think because it will be the fourth time it will be trying to do that. I think this can have some downside if it breaks down below this bear flag this fourth time, because it's not like it's always going to keep bouncing from there. Netflix. Okay, so there's a chart of Netflix. It tried to bounce based on some news that some big hedge fund guy has bought it, but we lost the momentum right back into that. Let me take okay, now look at this chart. It's interesting, right? We saw this big move up, and then it's range bound between 412 and 393 for the most part, right? It remained range bound, and then now it broke below that support, and now it's sort of a, I don't know, intraday bear flag, right? This thing. So if we start Monday morning somewhere here in between, gets rejected around 394, and it breaks below this bear flag, that could be a nice bearish trade. So, or you can look for strength on the upside and see if it can get towards 397, 98, short it right here around 399 and see if it gives you a little retrace back rejection from that level, right? That kind of thing. And your risk will be defined, right? Because you're shorting here towards the top, and you can only keep your risk middle of these two key levels, something like that, right? So you just have to think from risk perspective. Again, I keep on saying that. Otherwise, you will be chasing the stocks and stuff like that, and it won't be good. Okay. I think this video has gone a little bit long. Maybe is there any more charts that we need to look at? Let's see. We already looked at. Let's see. BA. Yeah. Higher time frames still, yeah, kind of downtrendish, but again, this was a good area to be considering short. Again, I did not trade it at all this week. We had some other plays, but previous week it gave good sort of trade, and I can tell because I know I traded this one particular right here, where I saw this pattern again. You have to learn these pattern sort of things, right? It broke above that. That was a good breakout trade. And now we have this bearish bar. This was the level it broke above, right? This one right here. So let's see how it treats this level now. If it gets bouncy here or if it breaks down from there, okay? So that is how you kind of try to time these things. All right, so like always, if you have any questions, comments, things like that, you can always reach out to us through Discord, Twitter, or email, whatever is convenient, and we'd be happy to talk. I think we're talking to a couple of people over the weekend, so we'll okay, keep us posted, and hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Take care, guys.